Welcome to the final of the ZOTAC Cup today. Team Roccat is playing against Arthas. So two teams that have been doing very well in the European scene lately. Our first map today is Dragon Shire and we are going straight into game number one. We have a couple of heroes that we haven't really seen in too long. Falstad, for example, is a very good hero, and these days he's played a lot with the auto attack build. You have of course two different builds that you can use on the hero and a bit of a hybrid build as well, where you focus more on the auto attacks but you still try to get with gathering power a bit of extra damage, sometimes also overdrive on level 16 to just make sure that that Hinterland Blast is going to hit all that harder. This is a hero that we're seeing played for Team Roccat today in their composition. When you look at the draft string, by the way, there was of course a bit of a problem there. We have two Anuboraks in there, which is not really happening. So yeah, we won't see two beetles in the game. So yeah, don't worry about that. One of them is of course Brightwing, but the rest of the draft screen should be in order. So guys, our first game today in the final, start of a best of 3 series here on Dragon Shire. Who's going to take it? It's the probably best map that we have for Arthas, but then again, well met, aka Roccat. They just joined the team. They are really strong and definitely one of the, I don't really want to call them an up-and-coming team because they have been around for so long, but they are improving a lot lately. You know, even on Dragon Shire, it's not going to be easy for Arthas to beat them. So let's find out who's going to take the first game in the best of 3 series, guys. Dragon Shire coming up.
Alright boys, game number one, and girls of course, game number one in the best of 3 series, and this time it is actually a best of 3 series. Here in the grand final of the ZOTAC Cup we have Team Arthas going up against Roccat. And well, if you're thinking right now, Roccat who? Then it is of course well met that you are seeing currently on the right side of the map. So they joined recently, Roccat. They have a new organization right now, so congratulations first of all to them, and let's find out if they can win their first tournament for the team here. To the left side of the map it is the Russian team. We have ZOTAC on Tyrande once again, currently unstable, playing Khaldor, Kunichan on Uther, BKB on Muradin, and Andy Lendi on Sylvanas. The team to the right side, on the other hand, oh well, we might actually have to wait with that one for a second with the introduction here. Well, I guess we're going to put that in real quick. Sport Billy on Anuborak. We have Soccer on Tyrael, so the double front line here. Good initiation, very good hard engage, of course, especially with Tyrael. And Hazobs on his Falstad is going to try to combo off on that with a good Hinterland Blast. So Vault is playing his Zeratul right now, and to complete the 5 players, we have Shadowmar on right in this case. So it's going to be a pretty interesting game because, well, as I said already in the draft analysis earlier, the squishies on the side of Team Arthas are going to hate their life here, because that is just such a brutal comp. You can get jumped at any point in the game by Anuborak, by Tyrael. That judgment is going to be a pain to deal with. And you have Anuborak also with his stuns, and behind all of that there is going to be Hazobs, who is just going to put in the damage with his Hinterland Blast and try to snipe you away. So right now, that's what we are currently probably going to watch out for when it comes to especially Khaldor, Tyrande, and also, of course, then Sylvanas. The interesting part is that we saw on the last pick still Tyrande picked by Team Arthas. They could have gone for other heroes. Another one that was suggested earlier is ETC. But the one thing that they lose with that is that early map presence that they really like to establish on this map, because they want to have those early Dragonites. And they're already trying to get exactly that. Both of the shrines are under their control. Tyrande already getting sniped at the bot lane on the other hand, and so Vault is there with his Zeratul trying to get a second kill in against Unstable. Not quite able to do that, but Hazobs, at least for now, is gonna make sure that that second shrine at the bot lane is not gonna belong to the Russian team any longer. As I was saying though, the Russians are very aggressive with their playstyle, and ZOTAC and his team, they have gotten Dragonites as early as 1 minute and 50 in this game for exactly that reason. Having Muradin and Tyrande in the game allows you to establish that roaming squad that they're, by the way, not really using just yet because Muradin is still at the top lane. But you have a lot of pressure there. You have a bit of a chain CC that you can use to get early kills and then try to get that Dragonite. And they are still dominating the 2 shrines, and they have been for quite some time. Zeratul trying to move in for a kill. Well, with Soccer jumping after Muradin, maybe he can get that in, but no, not quite. So it's actually quite interesting to see this setup that we are having for Team Arthas, and they're really just trying to put the aggression on Roccat, aka Wellmet, which is what we are going to see throughout the entire game probably. But once the heroic abilities are in, those squishies definitely are in a very tricky situation, and I'm curious to see how Arthas is going to keep those alive. They picked Uther over Brightwing, and I personally like that choice a lot, and the reason is that at that point in the draft we already realized real quickly that there's a massive amount of burst and jumper potential for Team Roccat, and that means that you kind of need a cleanse and you also need the Divine Shield. So using the two of those, Kuni-chan should be able to protect the rest of the team. We have a few talent choices that we should probably talk about a bit. We have at the same time still the fight for the shrines going on. At the bot lane, oh, there's Sport Billy dashing in. Not getting anything done just yet. Serval got lifted into the air with a gravity lapse. But there's two of the shrines already in the hands of Team Roccat. And, well, in the mid lane, there's only Sylvanas helping with that. But up at the top, it's Meriden. The talents that I wanted to talk about is mostly the level 4 talent that we're seeing for Falstad. Hazop seems like he's going for an auto attack build, which would mean that he takes Secret Weapon on level 7 over Boomerang if he doesn't want to go for the full burst. Whoa, it looks like Shadowmar might... Oh my... Oh, the owl! Wow, I was just about to say that he is apparently able to escape there, but the owl to the face, hitting Brightwing and hitting him hard. So yeah, well done here. And Hazop's with that pick on level 4, he is not using Gathering Power, and when you see that, then oftentimes it's really just that you try to go into an auto attack build with Secret Weapon on level 7, and then you don't necessarily need to go for Gathering Power on that level and just say, okay, I'm going to get a bit more utility out of that, and especially in those fights for the shrines, I have a better position. Nice stun against, yeah, Sabolt, and this is something you won't be able to survive. And there is Secret Weapon taken on level 7, so the auto attack build on Falstad for him. Zeratul, of course, who we just saw dying a painful death. He is going for an auto attack build as well, so two of the heroes are currently utilizing that. And that means that especially Muradin with his Reverberation build that we see on level 1 taking for the Thunderclap is going to be very strong against both of these heroes if he gets close enough to really land that Thunderclap. Down to the bot lane, already that attack against Kuni-chan. Kuni-chan gets blocked by Sevka for a second, but that protective shield making up for that. The problem is that Serval is still there. Oh, gets stunned. Kuni-chan still running away, but unstable. Isn't making it here either, unfortunately for them. Still that fight in the mid lane. Andy Landy would have loved to get that Dragonite, but Roccat had something to say about that. So now they control the shrine at the bot lane again. They have Sport Billy over there moving away since Andy Landy was suddenly getting very, very dangerous to him. But here's Soke claiming another shrine, and that means that both of them are going to end up in the hands of their opponents. And with the pressure that Hazops puts on them, this might actually end up with the Dragonite for Roccat. And yep, there it is. Dragonite has been taken. Both of the teams are nearly exact the same amount of experience, and we're seeing now both of them, of course, trying to just work around that Dragonite. So Bolt is trying to keep them away from the rest of his team so that they can push a different lane, occupying two heroes in the mid lane right now. As to the bot, we see Hazops and Sport Billy trying to push in. We have, of course, Unstable Poison taken on Sylvanas for level 7. That cleanse on Uther was also quite predictable, considering the lineup that we are seeing for Roccat. And at the top lane, we are having at this point Shadowmar and Zokke moving in, where Zokke went for Battle Momentum on level 7. We have him on level 4 with Amplified Healing, and level 1 is, of course, the extra damage against heroes with a Smiter on Purge Evil. And once more, BKB who's getting attacked here. Jumping back just in the last second with his Dwarf. The Dragonite actually didn't do really a whole lot just yet. They are able to get a few towers on the back of that, though. The towers at the top lane, and that puts level 10 now into the hands of Roccat. And that's exactly the problem that we've been talking about earlier. Once that the level 10 is in play, there are a lot of different setups that Roccat can use to really put pressure on those squishies. Just the Judgment into Hinterland Blast alone is a huge threat. If you then combo that off also with a Void Prison that you can use as a setup in team fights, you can really isolate a target, burst that down, and get an advantage early on. And as we talk about isolation and teamfight control, there's Web Blast to consider as well. It's also not the Beetle build that we're seeing on Sport Beetle and Uberak. Instead, it is that Impale on level 1 and level 7, so the extra range and also the Bed of Barbs, which makes it a little bit easier to just like have teamfight control. Only on level 4 do we see a Beetle talent, where the automatically Beetle spawn every 8 seconds. So yeah, very strong skills on also very good builds that we have here. In case that we were surprised a second ago, by the way, we have Shadowstalk taken on the side of Tyrande, and that is just trademark Team Arthas. They always do that on Tyrande. Sevka is running Tyrande for the hero, and oh, BKB, what a poor guy. I mean, like, he was so close of escaping, but then he jumps right into Zeratul's arms, and yeah, he just says, thank you very much, and the Psyblades takes out his opponent. So currently, Wilmette taking a bit of a lead. It's not a massive one, but it's a slight lead that they get. 2 kills against 3. Sport Billy at the bot lane is being stunned out once. Unstable is still there, but Serval is moving in. Oh, gets actually lifted. Oh, nice! That was a really good Divine Shield, making sure that there was nothing that they can do about Khaldor, but it is Tyrande that is being taken apart here, and an immediate kill to Khaldor afterwards, after the Divine Shield is gone. Kuni-chan is also dying, and yeah, that's exactly what we've been afraid about when that draft happened. There is just so much burst, so much engagement, so much control on the side of Roccat that it's just super difficult for Arthas to keep their squishies alive, and they just lost every single one of them. Even Kuni-chan not making. And by the way, that Divine Shield was top notch. Once that Hazorps committed to the Hinterland Blast, there was immediately a Divine Shield keeping him alive. It was very well played, but as you can see right now, this is Roccat getting farther and farther ahead. They have currently the extra talent already, and that alone is a very good position for them now as well. And we're having them just like moving once again into the mid lane, trying to get even more kills in here, especially of course against the structures. They have nearly the entire team there. Anubarok is just now rotating in, and it's an extra talent that they have too. With Burning Rage on 2 of the heroes, it's a bit old school style. It's actually what we oftentimes see on, or what we have seen in the past for Team Arthas. So Roccat is giving them a taste of their own medicine right now, and I think that tastes pretty bitter, to be honest. A double Burning Rage of the 2 hard engaged heroes that Roccat is running in this comp. We're having Falset, of course, with Giant Killer, since it is an auto attack build that we're seeing for Hazorps. And we don't even see Icebook, anything like that on Brightwing. Brightwing just saying like, well, Sprint is absolutely fine. Who's gonna take me out here? There's nothing that they can really do about me. So really good match so far from Team Roccat. But well, Falstad is at the top lane with his fly. He's starting to make his way over into the middle. They haven't really gotten too much out of that Dragon Knight just yet. And here it is again. The snipe potential. So Shadow Stalk and heal being used. Really well done. Good save so far. Even making sure that Tyrande was wept in this case. But the counter kill potential against Zeratul. And he gets away. Don't forget that Khaldor really gets his power spike at 16. It's of course something that we harp on in nearly every single game, but it's really important to note, especially when we have a few viewers amongst us that might not know that just yet. Khaldor is relying heavily on his Flame Strike throughout the entire game, and at level 13 he gets the extended range on the talent, so he can poke from a safe distance. And here's another skill that is called Living Bombs that puts just another damage spell onto a single target, and you can really do a lot of damage with that. And Ignite, a 16 talent for Flame Strike, is putting a Living Bomb on every single hero that is hit by a Flame Strike, and that allows Khaldor to snowball really hard. Using even a Phoenix here in this case, his heroic ability to just capture a Bruiser camp, and why not? The cooldown is so short, there's no reason not to do that. I mean, at this point the camp is captured, and there's only another 25 seconds until he will be able to use his heroic ability again. Oh! Zeratul in a very bad spot and gets taken out. Was trying to blink away and even use Wormhole, but that did not work. And now all of a sudden, Arthas is starting to establish some control at the bot lane here. Doing quite well with that. Taking down potentially a Ford. It's a trade. Ford at the top lane for Ford at the bot lane. But of course, well, Matt is just simply saying, well, we are starting to pressure your keep now, so you have to move back unless you really are okay with losing that. They are pushing with Sylvanas on the other hand. And the Sylvanas push with 5 is always going to be better than a 4-player push at the top lane without Sylvanas. So right now it looks like we are going to see both of them going straight for a keep. The towers are already losing. The keep here is nearly done. There's another camp coming in. This could be a base race. The 16 talent is really comfortable at this point for Team Roccat. And right now they are moving back. They lost the keep. That was a bad trade. Like, you have to go like all or nothing, like one of the two. Either you go for the kill on the keep or you don't go for the trade at all. And losing Kuni-chan to the Void Prism is another bad thing that happens to them right now. This is really bad news at this point for Team Arthas. They should have moved back immediately or not tried to go for that base race at all. Because losing a keep against 4 heroes while you don't take one out, it's not really, it's less than ideal. BKB, I mean, they go for Shadow Stalk, they use the Phoenix, that's 2 heroic abilities that are already gone, the Avatar is gone as well. That's a lot of cooldowns that you sacrifice in this case. And you still don't have level 16. So that's a very, very tricky spot right now. We have Rending Cleave on level 16 taken. Oh, nice! Uther cleansing himself and getting away in that case. So yeah, no double bombs, but Rending Cleave actually. Interesting to see that. There was a talent that was changed by Blizzard a couple of patches ago. Actually moved. Oftentimes Blizzard, when they are trying to adjust the hero a bit, moves talents through different levels, which is completely changing the builds for very popular heroes. That's one of the things that happened to Zeratul as well. Well, at this point right now, I have to admit that with the 16 talent now finally into play for Arthas, they might be able to start make a bit of a comeback with their Ignite. But losing that, keep losing another Dragon Knight, actually, like in this case, the capture at the bot lane was just in time. I thought they might be able to sneak that in before it happens, but they weren't. But this is still a very solid position that we're seeing for Team Roccat here. It's all about the team fight at this point. And the next one is going to be the most important one. So they are going to try and go for that again. And here comes the attack against Zeratul. This time he's not dying. So Bolt was a bit out of position earlier. Was trying to move in, trying to get away. Didn't really show himself, but of course, like you still see that shimmer, even if the hero is invisible. And yeah, he couldn't really escape and at that point. But it all worked out for them in the end, which is probably what matters. The attempt to get another Dragon Knight. Up at the top, we have Tyrande. Can they maybe even get a kill for this? Nah, doesn't look likely just yet. We have the Hammer Time being, by the way, being used. So, yeah, interesting. So, that is a talent that we haven't seen too often. So, in this case, HazOps is not going for the potential 16 talents that he has there. One of them, by the way, for the burst comp is usually Overdrive. Oh, Zefka! They even sacrificed there. I'm not quite sure why exactly you would sacrifice that. Maybe they were afraid that he could go for Shadow Stalk, but I don't really think so. So Soccer is using Judgment, says like, okay, better safe than sorry, we're gonna go for that right now. And then we can still try to go for either the mid keep, which is do, or we can just rotate down to the bot lane, take another shrine, and try to claim the Dragon Knight. So at this point, there's once again Muradin walking right into 4, needs to jump away, hops over the wall. Muradin with his bunny hop here. And we have Hazu going straight for the temp. But there's Kuni-chan. There's Kuni-chan right there. Uther in a bush. And he's blocking it. He's blocking it. He was waiting for Andilendi. HazOps is still there, but there's a full rotation coming. Oh, there's the silence. He can't get away. And Brightwing. No way! Shadowmar. Look at that. This is why Brightwing is so damn awesome on maps like this. Shadowmar jumps in and keeps him alive. So now it looks like BKB is going to fall once more. Yes, he is. BKB going down, and therefore they are without a tank for another 45 seconds, which is always bad news, especially if you're running a team with 3 squishies. And those squishies, they are in pain right now. Well, actually, Khaldor is not in pain anymore because he's already dead. But Safeguard Andilendi, that's the stun. Oh, nice move here. Web Blast even being used. I guess that was also not really necessary, but well, why not? You can like kill all 3 of them out, all 4 actually. Andilendi, the only one surviving, and this is going to be at least the second keep. Nope, they go straight for the core. They have another 17 seconds until Muradin is going to be back, and even more before the damage dealers are going to be back in the game. So they just say like, alright, we're going to core it right now. Andilendi has to be very careful because one stun is going to end his life. But this game is, of course, already ancient history. This is game number 1, ending in favor of Team Roccat. Former Team Well-Met taking the lead in the best of 3 series against Arthas at the ZOTAC Cup final.
Roccat, they take game number 1, they win on Dragon Shire against their opponents, and now we're going into the second game. And game number 2 is on Cursed Hollow. And here on Cursed Hollow we have now a completely different approach for Arthas. Whereas in the last game they weren't really trying to focus this hard on a melee assassin, right now their entire hopes bank on an Illidan composition. And with the draft they were actually able to get Muradin and also Brightwing, 2 of the heroes that you oftentimes see played against Illidan. And besides that, they were also able to pick up Sylvanas. So what they kind of did is pick all of the heroes that are great counter plays against Illidan away from the opponent, put the Illidan into the composition, and now they go up against Team Roccat on Cursed Hollow. And Roccat was trying to just emphasize the Vikings again. They play Lost Vikings a lot these days, especially since HazOps is just such a great Viking player with his Warcraft 3 and also StarCraft 2 background. He just has that micro macro that you need to get the most out of the Vikings, very similar to what Vortex does for Team Liquid. So let's find out if Roccat can clench out a 2-0 victory against this composition that Arthas is playing here, or if the Russian team will tie up the series and bring us into a third game.
Welcome to game number 2 in the best of 3 series here at the ZOTAC Cup final. We have Roccat in the lead. Roccat, of course, is the former Team Well-Met. They finally joined an organization, and that was also the reason why HazOps left Mousesports after 11 years with the team. So now they're playing for Roccat, and they are in the lead against the Russian team, starting to the left side on Cursed Hollow, map number 2. Sefka on Brightwing this time. We have Unstable currently playing Sylvanas. Muradin is played by BKB. Kuni-chan on Illidan, and Andilendi on Abathur. To the right side of the map, Soccer on Tyrael, we have Hazorps playing the Lost Vikings, Shadowmar Falstad, Servault, Jaina, and Uther is playing Sport Billy. So actually Hazorps now on the Lost Vikings, apparently the better Viking player of them, and that's why they are switching around with Falstad and not played by Hazorps, therefore. That mine in the bush, yeah, trying to hide then Abathur, just ruining that plan immediately with a quick landmine, setting that in there. Hazorps as an RTS player, that's usually where you have really those skills with micro and macro that you can run with the Vikings and really do a whole lot of work with them, and that's currently what they're trying to do there. When you're looking at the build now, and especially of course the lineups for the two teams, a lot of what we are seeing for Arthas is really focused on Illidan. They are in a setup where they picked Brightwing, Sylvanas, and Mirrodin, and all of these three heroes are strong heroes against Illidan. So normally what happens when you have an Illidan pick for one of the teams, the opponent's team is immediately trying to get all three of those, or at least one or two. And as those already ended up in the hands of Team Arthas early on in the draft, well, the Russian team just decided we're going to go Illidan and we're going to put an Abathur in the mix for good measure, just so we have additional support, and that's happening already with pressurized clans on level 1, which is actually pretty cool. So we're not seeing that hybrid build that ADRD sometimes uses on Gamers 2, where he goes for the Locust on level 1 still. So there's currently Hazorps still in the mid lane. Kunichan on his Illidan is trying to do his thing. The thing about Illidan is that at the beginning of the game he usually doesn't really do a whole lot. Illidan is starting to get a lot stronger once you hit level 4, because suddenly with Immolation you're gonna get more damage out there, and then on level 7 you can really start to make some moves, since you suddenly can rely on your first aid. With that you will be able to just have a bit of self-sustain during these matches. We should probably see roughly around level 4 at the latest Kunichan starting to rotate over to the couple of the mercenary camps. Against Vikings is of course, by the way, a bit of a different thing, since against those, well, you're usually a bit stronger. That Viking soak that we're seeing here is actually pretty cool. We have a full attack up at the top lane with 3 heroes where they're starting to push in the entire wave. Andilendi is helping out as much as he can with this. But at level 4 normally Illidan is being relieved from his laning duty, and it goes straight to those camps and is trying to get a couple of siege giant camps for his team. And at the latest on level 7 you can also easily take those bruiser camps. Usually even before that you can just like move in, especially when you have Abathur. Abathur just jumping in and helping you with the bruiser camp, that is all that you basically need. You create some pressure on the lanes, and that gives you an early momentum. The same build so far that we see on Falstad played by Shadowmar than we've seen by Hazorps as when he was playing the hero in the last game. Going for Vampiric Assault on level 4, and we're going to see Secret Weapon on 7 over Boomerang. In regards to builds, we have pretty still normal builds, nothing out of the ordinary. Brightwing, of course, with the bribe that he has, will have the opportunity to just sneak in and steal maybe a few camps away. As we have now also the Cursed Tribute spawning at the bot lane, this is normally the time when you have the Vikings starting to split up, and that's exactly what Hazorps is doing, is rotating to the top lane with Eric to make sure that he gets the experience soak there. Andilendi is doing the same thing, by the way, with Abathur, trying to soak experience with his body, and Falstad, of course, gives you the mobility that you need to move in there. Sylvanas taken out at the bot lane apparently already. Yep, there she is. So she was caught off guard, and that puts an easy tribute into the hands of Roccat. That definitely did go very different from what Team Arthas envisioned here. We're at level 6 now, and so far Illidan hasn't really started to take any camps. We have him with soaking duty at the bot lane, since Sylvanas is just now on the way back. And in the mid lane, BKB still occupied with the Vikings here. Pretty solid game from Roccat so far. They also took a camp to the right side. The Siege Giants are making their way over to the lane. And this is actually like a pretty cool setup for Roccat in this case now. They get a bit of a lead in experience, they start to put pressure on the lanes, they have very good soak with the Vikings here. There's also a bit of damage now against BKB, who will have to wait out and maybe even you as well. Secret Weapon should be used in just a second, and yep, there it is, Secret Weapon taken. Interesting is that we have, in the case of Jaina, Envenom taken. Normally, in most of the pro games, you either see, well, actually, good kill against Balok here. In most of the games that you see currently in the pro scene, Arcane Intellect is the talent to go for, just so that he helps you a little bit with the mana pool that you have there. A switch, up at the top lane, a potential kill against Sport Billy, and yes! Uther is taken out, but they get a kill against Brightwing. So they might even be able to get a bit more than that. No, 2 of the Vikings are dead, and Servault gets hammered into the ground quite literally, and Illidan goes in for the kill. Both of the towers are out of ammunition already, and this is of course the strength of Illidan. If that melee assassin is racking your backline, then you can do very little about that. BKB is helping out with a stun every now and then. So very, very good moves there by Team Arthas, and suddenly they are the ones in the lead and also pushing this back. Abathur during all of this was starting to move to the bot lane to start soaking over there, and also of course use the Locust to push in as well. Currently in the mid lane we have Unstable and Sport Billy still dancing their dance here. Unstable of course dying at the top lane earlier. Unstable went for the Unstable Poison, and in this case he has a very easy time just like making sure that those lanes are being pushed back. Keep in mind that we're having also a Mule taken, an interesting talent on Abathur. You give up Needle Spine for it. Not really a must-have talent. It's very necessary though if you want to go for the extra talent on level 13 for your Needle Spine attack as well, which in this case he's probably not going to do. I suppose we're going to see Soma Transference on level 13 for him, so that Illidan has a bit of extra heal with all of those spike bursts that he can send out, which would make a lot of sense. I personally like that a lot. But a lot of Abathur players are trying to go for the extra damage with the additional stab. But for that to really have an effect, Needle Spine is kinda very, very you kinda need to take that. It's a very obvious choice. And seeing Mule now leads me to believe that we're gonna see Soma Transference there instead. At the bot lane we still have Sefka and Soccer. So far no real snipes, but it looks like Arthas might even be giving up that tribute for Savold. The Sorg with the Vikings is still there. BKB is starting to move in, trying to interrupt, and he doesn't even have to do anything. It's actually, well, Matt, aka Roccat, who moved back currently. The level 10 was just too fast after the last few kills for Team Arthas. It looked for a moment like we would see Arthas not rotate, and Matt just sneaking that in. But with a level 10 talent, it just sent one of their heroes over, and they were very well aware that Muradin would be able to survive in case that Matt decides to fight. But with level 10 against level 9, that was kind of unlikely. There's already the move up at the top lane here with the entire Viking squad. We have also Falstad and Savold moving over. Looks like Kunichan is going to be the target. Uses Metamorphosis to get away, and there's no chance. The hate against Illidan is real. They take it. I'm a little bit surprised that Socket didn't throw in another judgment there like he did in the last game against, I think it was Jaina. He's actually moving back now. Apparently to take down the Siege Giants over here, I suppose. They were sniped. And with this we are having now a situation where somebody just hates to take care of this, and we have Boss taken at the top lane. Besides Boss already taken out, another Boss down to the bot lane from Team Arthas. They are trying to go for the exact same thing and taking this one out, so it's going to be an even trade. The Tribute on the other hand could really put the curse onto, well, Roccat. And they are starting to take more hits from that boss. Look at that timing. They might be able to snipe that. No, but they could get a kill. They could get a kill, and they're trying to do exactly that. Brightwing jumping away with a quick blink kill into the backline. And at the same time, the longboat is now started but taken out. The Vikings are stunned, and one of them is dead. The second one also about to be eliminated. Of course, Andilendi is going for the copy on Illidan. Olaf in the ragdoll is getting completely driven away by the entire squad there, kicked into the ground if you just saw that, and that is another good double kill against Team Roccat. And Roccat is not only suffering the double kill, they're suddenly up against a boss. There is still Sylvanas with this, disabling the force, doesn't really need disabling since, well, that curse is already doing work. At the top lane, Andilendi is trying to do what he can against that boss, was trying to go for the slap there, but needed to move away as the slam came into play. Now to the bot lane, we still have that pressure against the structures, and this could potentially be a keep. There's a 13 talent already on the board on the side of the team. They go straight for Illidan, they burst him away. Illidan is down. They got the kill against him, and now Arthas has to move back. So with that move, they bought themselves some time, but in the mid lane, well, Eric, you are not going to live. Or are you? With a jump, he might be able to escape there. Yeah, BKB doesn't get in for the kill. The thing is, the fort goes down still, and that, of course, puts even more experience into the hands of the Russian team. Arthas, they want to go into game number 3, and they are currently doing extremely well there. They're definitely on a good way. We have them at this point with 6.5 kills against 4, so it's especially like, of course, those last few Illidan fights that really went went well in their favor. The thing is that if you have a double Illidan against you because of the Abathur copy, thanks to the Oroggability Ultimate Evolution, it's very tricky. It's very, very tricky actually to just like take both of those down. There's like so much stuff jumping around in your backline. Going for a good focus there is very annoying, and especially when you put that pressure on the individual damage heroes, like for example Serval's Jaina, then it's also very difficult for Jaina to just get anything done there. If you're attacked by 2 Illidans and they're jumping in and out the entire time, I mean, what are you going to do there? So Kuni-chan pauses the game. Apparently somebody's at the door. The best pause that I've seen so far is because somebody had a cramp in his leg, which was very, very funny. It was also a first. We have the 13 talents now finally ready for Roccat, and with that they might have an opportunity to turn things around there. The extra damage, of course, on Falstad with now Giant Killer is nice. We have also Imposing Will for Tyrael. It's pretty awesome. And important is that Shrink Ray. Shrink Ray against Illidan is just nice control that you have on a lot of the heroes. Malfurion, for example, is another one who could go for that. And that takes a bit of the threat away that Illidan poses to you. But not for long, of course. Talking damage and heals, just to give you a slight idea of what's happening so far in the game. Illidan with 12,000. We have Sylvanas with 11,000 damage here and another 10 on Abathur. On the other hand, it's mostly the Vikings and also Falstad, of course, that dish out the damage for Roccat. Not really a big surprise, considering what kind of lineup we have there. But Jaina may be underperforming a bit in damage, and that just shows how much she is under pressure in these fights. Normally Jaina can really get more damage out than that, but she is the target of Illidan in most cases, and then keep in mind that also Muradin is jumping into that backline. Experience-wise, on the other hand, we are currently seeing that Tyrael has nearly the same amount of experience gathered during the game than the Vikings did, even though we had that split soak, but the top of the ranks still Sylvanas, with all that pushing power, thanks to her abilities, especially, of course, the unstable poison. Went for With the Wind on level 1, not the barbed shot which we sometimes still see these days, but yeah, these setups that we're currently seeing for them are actually quite fun. So let's see how exactly they're gonna use that from here on out. They have a 2-level lead. 16 talent is going to be the next big milestone for Team Arthas that they are going to use. Shadowmar saying there's a long way to the door. Apparently there is. I mean, he probably lives in some kind of, like, okay, like, there's 22nd floor. Does he have to go all the way back down? Somebody had to wait for... okay. I'm not quite sure who exactly left, like who went down, but one of these guys seems to be like a Russian prince or something. Like, yeah, he owns a whole palace. That's a plot twist coming in just now. They don't even need any kind of like sponsor because, well, there's like, it's one of those oil millionaires, like one of those Russian oil millionaires, and they're just like, oh yeah, I have a Heroes of the Storm team, I pay the salaries all myself, and it's kind of fun. So that's apparently what's going on here. That's a very, very, very long way to the door. Don't they have a buzzer? I mean, like, seriously, they just could use a buzzer, right? I mean, like, yeah, alright, babe, thanks that you're cool that you're here finally, I'll buzz you in. But, yeah, so his girlfriend is apparently just arriving, so, yeah, somebody has a fun evening ahead of him, I suppose. Party time! But before you party, you have to work, and in this case, that means that they have to go straight for the Heroes game. Shadowmar is... where's Shadowmar actually going with this? He needs to join up with the rest of the team. I guess we have him closing that up. Heroic abilities, most of them are up, but we're still missing that Hinterland Blast. So that is a bit of a nice setup if you want to snipe somebody down. The problem that you have with it is Hinterland Blast is not going to be available to you for another couple of seconds, for 17 actually to be exact. Andy Lendy is apparently our Russian prince there. He should definitely rename himself. So the Russian prince went through this entire palace to let somebody in at the door. You should really get a butler, dude. So get an Alfred. Here comes Kuni-chan. Oh, the silence! You should never do that! Oh, actually, sorry, my bad. We'll talk about that in a second. Once again, oh god, oh my god, the bloodbath. Oh, Jaina down, Uther down, Falstad is also dead. And Tyrael is trying to jump away, but Kuni-chan is there. Can he close the distance? No, he can't, but BKB can. Missing his Stormbolt on the other hand. Well, doesn't really matter though. They get 4 kills in, and yeah. The Wailing Arrow actually missing a bit for a second, guys, as we saw. Did you see that? We saw Illidan jump at the exact same time that that Wailing Arrow came in. And that's why I for a second panicked and was like, oh my god, Sylvanas, what are you doing? You should never try to hit Illidan with a Wailing Arrow when he has his ult still up. Because that's what's going to happen there. I wonder if Kuni-chan really tried to use Metamorphosis here for another reason, or if he panicked when he saw the Wailing Arrow and did realize it a bit too late. That actually happened to me once as well, where I just thought, oh my god, there comes the Wailing Arrow, and you're so used to playing Illidan against Sylvanas oftentimes, because she's one of those picks that will be used against you. Silence against Illidan is just such a great tool, and especially if you have the Deafening Blast as your level 20 ability, if you do not need that Bolt of the Storm. 5 seconds of silence against Illidan, that guy is already blind, alright? If he can actually not even like say anything, then he's in a really bad spot. I was laughing so hard today when somebody claimed on Reddit that we should actually see Illidan being immune to blind from Johanna because, well, he has a blindfold, he can't see anything. It's actually true. So, yeah, Blizzard, what's up with that? Unstable up here at the top is starting to... oh, poor Eric. Poor Eric. Well, 1 minute of silence for Eric. Alright, that's enough. So, Eric dead, but the other two Vikings are still around. Still lost, by the way. Lost in the mid lane. Which is basically being pushed in by that Bruiser camp that they took a bit earlier. So, yep, right now we have Kuni-chan, Andilendi still standing there, checking that out. Over here we have BKB and Unstable. Like, the entire team is just roaming S5 now. They have a 16 talent, and of course Roccat is not going to engage into that before they have their own 16 as well. The stone form on... that is interesting. Why would you go for the stone form on Illidan over the Blood for Blood? I'm just now seeing that. And we also have on level 16 now Volatile Mutation taken. Okay, so you have basically an immolation there. Not quite, but that's an interesting talent to take. That's not normal talent. So a bit of a difference in builds that we're having for Abathur here, and also for Illidan. Using that stone skill is definitely not something that is very common. Most of the time it's still blood for blood, because, well, it slows the target down, puts it into your grasp. You are also able to deal a bit more damage with a good nice burst, and you also get more life. So sustain for Illidan is kind of everything, and I'm... yeah, I really want to see how that is going to work out for them. It's definitely something that is very uncommon. Okay, so we're having them jumping in once again up here at the top. Unstable is going to try and just make sure that... what was that? Alright, trying to dash away instead of using his dive. Alright, so gets stunned out. Doesn't really do anything to him, but yeah, still. Both of the teams are currently dealing with the boss, and this one at the bot lane, I mean, it's not really going to be able to do too much. That keep is already gone, but, well, is at least able to just keep the team occupied, push the core a little bit, push that in. One keep is down, and I mean, with that, we are already having the rest of the team just going for the camps on the map again. And so far, the only camp that is left is that Bruiser camp right over here. So, yeah, they go for that. We have them taking the Siege Giant camp first, the Bruiser camp next. And right now we're having the rest of Team Roccat trying to go for the opportunity that they have to get a pick there. And if they are able to close the distance to BKB and kill him first, that would be great for them. Maybe the start of a comeback. They're 2 levels behind. They really need a win now. They need a big win, and they're trying to get it right here. Spin to win already being used. BKB is being assisted by Abathur, but the rest of the team is not really rotating to that. What did Unstable just do? Moving away this quickly. Here comes Abathur moving in! The kill against one of the Vikings, and the Abathur copy is in play now. Jaina down. They go for Hazorps, kick him out of the longboat. The Viking is stunned. Sport Billy, they are all gonna get wrecked. They're gonna get a noob wrecked here. Yep, that is Uther. And Shadowmar, the only one that was able to escape here. Even the Viking is dead, and Sokka, of course, is not going to make it here either. Bam, down he goes. Kuni-chan could even, like, dive for the wall here if he wanted to escape the bomb, but Sokka doesn't even use that too much. That's a curse against Team Roccat now. I think they could have maybe ended bot lane. Oh, they are apparently just like trying to go for the keep instead, so they're not going to try and go for a finish. Sylvanas is there, I suppose Hazorp still has 2 of the Vikings, and yeah, with Jaina still being, or going to be up in another 5 seconds, I suppose it would have been a bit of a risky move. So they are going to play it safe and sound. They want to go into map number 3, and I don't really blame them for that. So Arthas is doing quite well against Roccat here on map number 2. And they are apparently trying to jump Falstad immediately again, and Falstad is gonna die. Great kill there. But Sefkai gets away again using his ice block and then just using blink heal after it's back in cooldown. Really well done here. They could still turn this around though. They could jump in again, but the kill against Brightwing would put an end to this. Brightwing is still getting away. With one blink heal after another, but finally taken out. Finally a kill for Roccat. And, well, they might even be able to get BKB here. He's running out of mana, and when you run out of mana on Muradin, that means that you can't hop away. But it's the attack against the core, and this is going to finish the game, of course. So while Muradin and the rest were occupying them at the top, the core was being pushed here. GG and well played, and we have game number 3 in this series coming up next to determine the winner of the ZOTAC Cup.
The series is tied at 1-1, and we're going to see game number 3, which is always amazing in a series like that, especially, of course, in the final. Tomb of the Spider Queen, the last and final map, and it's very interesting to now see the compositions happening because, well, on Tomb of the Spider Queen we have now for Roccat a very interesting approach. Not only do they have Brightwing, but also Tacitane. We all know by now what that means. Double promote on this map is very, very strong, but that's not the only thing that they are playing here. They have Johanna as well, and they're also running it with the Lost Vikings, which are becoming a bit more popular on this map in particular, since for a long time Tomb of the Spider Queen, because it's not the biggest map, was a map where you didn't see Vikings altogether, but right now we have Roccat playing them, and we also had in the past Team Liquid relying on Lost Vikings on this map, so they get a bit more popular here. On the other hand, what we're seeing for Arthas is a very, very strong front line. They are running this with Muradin and with Anubarak, and we actually saw a few more Anubarak Muradin games in the recent past, and it is really hard to break through this front line and make sure that you get to the damage dealer, so it's definitely a challenge. And this is, of course, the last map of the series, so both teams are very, very eager to win this one. And, well, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Roccat, or is it going to be Team Arthas? We're going to find out right now. Tomb of the Spider Queen, the last map in the series here, the final at the ZOTAC Cup.
Game number 3 in the best of 3 series between Roccat, aka Well-Met, and Arthas. The Russian team again to the left side, and they were able to take the last map against Roccat, and therefore they forced this third map out of their opponents. As you can see here, we're currently seeing, at least in this case, to the left, Malfurion, played by Sevka. Unstable is playing Vala, BKB on Muradin, Kunichan on Anubarak for the double tank lineup, Andi, Lendi on Jaina, and to the right side of the map, it's their opponent. It is Shadowman Tacita, Zocke on Johanna, Sport Billy on Brightwing, Sir Volt on Sylvanas, and Hazorps on the Lost Vikings. And I mean, on this map in particular, when you have a team that runs a Tacita and a Brightwing, you already know what's coming, because in this case, you have a double promote coming your way. This is one of those maps where Europe decided to actually use one of those things that the NA meta is currently sporting on so many maps. Double promote is definitely going to be a very tricky thing to deal with, especially when there's also a Sylvanas in the team to help that push even more, and that's exactly what's going on here. So right now, in terms of what Arthas has to do, I mean, first of all, they need to make sure that against all this strong push that we have coming in starting at level 4, they have something that they can do against that, and that's of course where especially heroes like Vala with a potential arsenal on level 4 for the push, and also Jaina are going to come into play. Right now we're having to the left side of the map, Arthas trying to defend their lanes with a rotation between the top and the mid lane. It's actually starting to be a bit more common. It's very similar to what we sometimes see on Dragon Shire, where you have coordinated teams rotating every 8 seconds between the mid lane and the bot lane. And in this case you have a very similar setup, and that's actually what both of them are already trying to do. With this rotation you can try to go for a pick-off at some point if you catch somebody off guard, and that might be what's happening to Sport Billy here. Yes, he is dead, and they seem to not get that counter kill. Well, Sovold, yes, he gets it after all. Alright, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. Both of the healers are down. Very well played here. We have on level 1, Knight takes pawn taken by Johanna. Just to give you a bit of an idea. There's With the Wind taken for good old Sylvanas. And oh, look at that! Kunichan! Oh, exposing himself a bit against the Vikings down there. And that was a very close call. So somebody else will have to take over the experience on the lane. If that lane pushes in. But it doesn't really look like they're going to lose too much there. In the mid lane, Zocke is being attacked. We have also on Malfurion scouting drone taken, so that always helps you a bit with getting a good glimpse of what's happening at those 2 turn-in spots. If you can dominate the middle of the map on this one in particular, you can get your web weavers in and really rule the objectives to start to get early kills against the forts, and therefore get a slight lead in experience that then might lead into a talent lead, and you can use that. Level 4, this is where things are starting to get extremely interesting thanks to promote. That's what's going to happen next year. What also happens is, though, that we have Eternal Retaliation taken with a cooldown reduction on Condemn, and that is something where we don't see the Laws of Hope. Laws of Hope is one of those skills that helps Johanna with her sustain quite a lot, but in this case that's not going to happen. We have also the, not Beetle build on Anubarak, but instead it's the build that fully focuses on your Impale and also on the Burrow Charge for the extra range on both of these talents, and then on level 7 we're going to see the Bed of Barbs, which helps you with the additional lockdown and control during the fights. Arsenal, of course, the choice for Vala. If you're going up against a double promote, you really want to make sure that you are running with as much counter pressure as you possibly can, and that's what they're currently doing here. We have also the promotes coming in, soaking the tower shots. One tower already down, and well met is playing this very smart. I'm liking this. Good jump here by BKB, really well timed. But I'm liking what they're doing. Roaming through the the mid lane and the top lane, getting the promotes and making sure that they get the first few towers. It's still level 6 versus level 6. Also, Bribe is being used by Brightwing here, and there's basically just like one siege giant camp that you can bribe. For all the rest, you will need some help to get that bruiser camp. But we have also now Snowstorm taken on Jaina. And these adjustments, I really like them. Jaina with Snowstorm is great against the Vikings, and it's also very good against the promote as well. If you get all of these minions in a wave, that's pretty cool. So, but against the Vikings, it's even more important. So right now we're having BKB just rocking his 12 gems there. Only well met, aka Roccat, was able to turn in thus far. We have BKB moving up at the top lane there. Malfurion, of course, in this game with a protective shield. But there is the first Web Weaver wave. Pushing is going to be everything. Like, that potential of pushing a lane in early and getting that kill is extremely important. So yeah, I'm actually very curious to see how they're going to run it right now. A double promote, quadruple promote maybe, on one of the lanes with the Web Weavers, and then rotating to another one to push that in with Sylvanas. That would create pressure on 2 lanes. That's very difficult to deal with for Team Arthas. And there's a level 7 talent for both of the teams. So they're still on even talents, basically. Not only that, they're not only on even talents, they are also at the same time in a very good position when it comes to the experience. But here comes the push at the top lane. Over here in the middle, there's Promote already running on 4 minions. And look how long they need to take those out. And during all the time, the top lane is being pushed and 2 towers fall as a result of that. But Muradin is jumping in. They're trying to go for the kill here. Condemn already used. Here comes the stun against Sylvanas. Sylvanas trying to get away, but that's the root. Great root by Malfurion. And that was a really good move from Sefka. They get the kill against Sylvanas, but now Arthas has to deal with that top lane Web Weaver. And during all that time, the bot lane was still punished by Hazorps. He took down the walls, and they're trying to go in here once more. Kunichan, the only one who pushes up against him. Hazorps is still there doing his thing, and with all that, the structures have, of course, been pressured so much in that one Web Weaver wave. But maybe a kill against Eric here. Jump is still up, and not even the root of Malfurion is going to change a thing about that. To the top lane, though, we have Sylvanas moving in, and we all know what that means. Yep, there it is, the Shadow Dagger for the Black Arrow trade. And with that, they can just simply take down that keep. There's no rotation there. It's only a turn-in that we're seeing for Arthas. So a lot of pressure on these lanes. It's just so tricky to play against this. If you neglect the lane for just a bit, then you lose one of your forwards, and you always find yourself in that very tricky situation where you're asking yourself, what should I do? Should I react to what my opponent does and just roam from lane to lane, trying to defend wherever they are? Or am I going to go for counter-aggression and try to move in and take a few structures on my own? Like, all of those things you can do, and in this case they actually decided to be a bit more aggressive. They already lost the fort at the top lane, and also the lead in experience that they were able to establish early on. But right now it is actually the team from Roccat that is able to make that happen. Malfurion is once again not going for the Enduring Growth and going for Mule. It seems to be a pretty common thing for them to do on this map. I'm not quite sure if I'm really a fan, because Enduring Growth just seems to be so damn good on Malfurion that it's very difficult to say, okay, I'm not going to use that talent here. We have now the lanes being pushed, and with those Web Weavers, it looks like we're actually going to see Arthas taking a slight lead here. The level 10 is going to come into play for them very soon, and if they get a faster heroic ability, that might really work out well for them, but both of the teams are probably going to hit that at the same time. There's the heroic ability already for Team Arthas, and they have a really nice push going up at the top lane here. That Web Weaver is still at a third of its health. They're having Tranquility, Strafe. We have Web Blasts not taken in this case, but it's a Locust Swamp. And they're moving in straight away! There's the Blessed Shield, but look at Malfurion, he's already dead, but that Strafe! Oh my god, they got so much damage with that. Condemn from Soccer is trying to save the rest of the heroes, but Brightwing and Anubarak, Brightwing and Sylvanas, they both die in this case, and they get the kill against Johanna as well. Wow! Arthas, all of a sudden, they were saying, like, what? Pressure? What are you talking about? Yeah, die, please. And that's exactly what they helped them with. They took down the entire squad, except for a few of the Vikings. Really well played here, once again, by Arthas. That aggression there. I mean, we have a Wailing Arrow for silence, the Blessed Shield has a lot of control, and the call to go for boss this early is a bit gutsy. It's very gutsy, actually. The death timers are so low that making that decision to go for a boss this early after a team fight, it's really it takes a lot of balls, to be honest with you. And they are being rewarded, but it was a very close one, as you could see. I mean, just at the time when they were trying to cap the boss, the rest of Roccat was already moving in there. So, yeah, very, very well played here by Arthas. A very good call. It was a clutch one, but it definitely worked out for them. And that, of course, forces now Team Roccat to defend at the top lane. They're not going to lose anything here, but they have to commit quite a lot of heroes to defend against the boss. And what does that mean? That means basically free turn-in on the side of their opponents. It means that you can defend your lanes, you can get Kuni-chan's gems in. I find it actually very odd that he didn't do that. I think that is a bit of a mistake. I mean, if he turns them in later on, then it's of course of no consequence. But if he's at some point getting sniped right now and loses 39 of the gems, then that is becoming a big problem. Doesn't really seem like it will be, but yeah, it's a bit of a risk that was, I feel, unnecessary. Doesn't really matter though, they won't be attacked here. It was just camps that go up against each other in the mid lane. And once again, that immediate jump by Muradin into the fray, trying to engage into another battle. They do not have level 13 yet, but they will be the first team to reach the next talent, and that would put another big advantage into their hands. We also have the Web Weavers moving in again. And with the Web Weavers right now, I mean, at this point, they could really start to use Web Weavers plus talent to maybe even take down... I'm not quite sure if they can take down a key, but they should be able to at least take down a wall. So damage, especially on Vala, is great at this point. 16,000. Oh, a lot of burst against ZOTAC, using his trade to move away to get it unstoppable and just move out of harm's way in the last second. Vikings soaking a bit of the bot lane still, but that also means no longboat. So right now, Condemn being used once more, and yeah, the wall is gonna fall. We already have the last fort eliminated. 2 of the forts still standing for Arthas, and Arthas now has the level 13 talent, and that means we're talking about Frost Shot. We're having 2 ice blocks there, a Nubarak even with the Burning Rage, and for Muradin, it's still that, yeah, that attack against single targets, the extra 300% damage you can Thunderclap if there's only one target there. The wall is definitely going to fall, and not only at the bot lane, the one at the top lane is actually pressured too. One of those towers is already down thanks to the boss starting with the damage earlier. But this is a very nice setup that we're seeing for Arthas. But apparently Roccat wants to fight. They are looking at a potential engage with Johanna not even in the mix. Johanna is moving in from the top right now, trying to ride in for another Condemn. Could get that, but the disengage is already too far. Like, they were able to move away here. The 13 talents just hitting the last second. And that puts now a Sun double spell shield on the board for them. Johanna and Sylvanas with a spell shield, especially of course against the damage that we're seeing from Jaina. And we have Prescience taken, passive move, face shield, and also Impatience is a virtue. Down to the bot lane, another camp has been taken. That's of course where Brightwing also can help out then later on. The Red Web Weavers now are being released, so it was a turn in that Roccat was able to get in. But we still have that slight lead in experience. It's actually not really all that slight, it's an entire level that they're ahead. Look at those promotes. They haven't really done all as much as they were hoping for. Promote, still more a thing that is being played a lot on the North American server, but still on Europe you see it a bit more often, especially on maps where it makes a lot of sense, like for example Sky Temple, where Brightwing is just he's a menace already at the top lane, soaking that on Sky Temple, but on this map we've seen a lot of promote comps. And right now it looks like we're going to see Roccat go for the fort. They have to abandon that actually. They're going to say, okay, these minions are going to take down the fort regardless, but up at the top lane another tower is eliminated, and they were pushed back since, well, this would have been an easy keep for Team Arthas if they didn't go for that right away. By the way, talking a little bit about the talents, we have a full Condemn build for ZOTAC, who went on level 7 for Conviction for the extra movement speed. We've been seeing this talent quite a bit on the hero. There's several builds out there right now, and one of the most common ones, as I already mentioned, is that we have on level 4 at least Laws of Hope for actional heal and sustain. But Condemn is pretty popular in Johanna right now, and having the first 3 talents put into Condemn is starting to be very common, especially with Night Take Spawn on level 1, so that you get a good amount of siege damage out there. We have Black Arrow again being used as the trade. Level 15 is already on the, well, it's not only on the way, it's actually already established here for Arthas, which means that we have soon enough 16 ready for them. And that's again an extra talent. And with that extra talent, they can once more try and go straight in for a fight engagement. Oh, Kuni-chan missing that impale a bit. Trying to use that force charge. Oh, silence! That wasn't really a good one, though. That silence actually sucked, to be honest with you. Maybe a little bit too happy on the trigger finger there. Sokka, on the other hand, he dies on his Johanna. And we have Muradin jumping in once more. With that Thunderclap, he can do so much here. And the Vikings, they're gonna die after Brightwing dropped as well. So Servault, this time, he had a couple of amazing silencers throughout the entire series that we've seen in the last couple of days from him. But this one, that was a bit too premature, too soon, and, well, he gets punished now too. Goes down, and this is, of course, going to be key. The 16 talent, in this case with Northern Exposure, we have a double blood for blood. It is the hardened focus on Malfurion, which is going to help, of course, quite a lot when it comes to the reduction on the cooldowns, since he's not really the one being focused in most of these fights. But yeah, that battle, that engage, didn't really go well for Team Rocket. They played an amazing first game, by the way. That draft that they had there was definitely the winning part in game number 1, which we saw on Dragon Shire. But then on the second map, Cursed Hollow, suddenly Arthas coming back. And on this one now in particular, they're doing a great job. They are turning in again, and they still have 42 gems. So they should be able to use those to get the next wave in there. And with that, I mean, that could mean we're going to see another keep die. And on this map in particular, it's pretty annoying. Once that you get Web Weavers and there's no keep left, these spiders go straight for the core. Thankfully for Team Rocket, there is no promote on the side of Team Arthas. If you have a promote, then you are able to take down your opponent's keep. You can start promoting catapults. And that is a pretty big deal. This is a gutsy call. Oh, they are in the throw pit and they are caught out. Uh-oh. That root, well, they're storing. Oh my god. Oh, it's a slaughter. Shield. If you have children watching with you, shield their eyes because it's getting ugly here. Down goes Johanna and one of the Vikings. They were trying to steal that away. They were going for a bit of a ballsy move there. Apparently a bit too ballsy, especially without the 16 talent. Was one of those Hail Mary moves that we've just seen from Rocket. And yeah, it was just like no risk, no fun. And they had to risk something, I suppose. But it doesn't really pay off for them. What is Kuni-chan doing there? What? I mean, he can, of course he can borrow charge away. But still, like, what was he doing over there? Trying to take down that gate. The Beatles are still at work, but the boss is moving in, and this is of course the time when they are saying, alright, we're gonna finish this. Give him the axe on Muradin. Who needs Stoneform in this game when you're running a double tank for your team? 16 talent is still not there, and that boss is starting to go hammer. Go hammer, go home, and that boss has no intention of moving back home. He doesn't like that pit. He wants to go for the core, and that's exactly what he does. Once again, the strafe being used. A lot of damage already put in by Bala. Tassadar is down there trying to go for the next kill, but Bala herself, Bala is actually down. Longbow doing a lot of damage there. Ice block on Malfurion, but 50% only on the core. BKB moving in, Kuni-chan with the right click, and we have Andy moving in now as well. It is Team Arthas. They win the ZOTAC Cup. They win the series after losing the first game. They take 2 in a row. Congratulations to Team Arthas for their victory here in the ZOTAC Cup final.
And at the end of the day, the Russian team, they take it. Arthas with very, very good play here. They dominate Tomb the Spider Queen. A great series for them. And with the 2-1 now, they take this series against Team Rocket. So congratulations to Arthas. Congratulations to the Russian team. They played a very, very good tournament here. And they are now the deserved victory in the ZOTAC Cup. It was a pleasure casting this series for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, give the video a thumbs up on YouTube, drop a comment in the comment section, and of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure to hit that sub button. There's daily Heroes of the Storm content here on the channel. If you have friends that are interested in the competitive scene, especially of course the European one, you're always welcome to share the videos with them. And I hope that we'll see you guys soon with the next video here on Khaldor TV. Have a great day, have a great week, and see you soon. Bye bye.